Hello, happy Friday, Steph on Pet Talk. I am Sarah Croatia, and this is Five Question Friday. Every Friday at 5 o'clock Croatia time, five questions about Croatia. People who have symptoms on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, expat.croatia.com. Email our consulting sessions for people who came to us at an open mic night. I am in Starrygrad on island Hvar today. I just arrived a couple of hours ago. Such a beautiful day. Very windy, and I'm wearing the wrong clothes for that. But nevertheless, it's beautiful, and I'm so happy to be on the island. I am here to have dinner with a couple of fans/clients. So I'm really excited to finally meet in person. I'm excited about that. So after five questions right in, I'm going to get down the hill and go and meet them. And I actually ran into, when I was walking to the apartment, I ran into a friend of mine, Amanda, who lives here on Hvar. And gosh, I haven't seen her in like 4 or 5 years, but she was walking her dog. And I was like, Amanda! So that's how Croatia is. Let's see. We've got some comments already. I finally finished all my paperwork to move to Croatia. Congratulations! That's great. I'm so happy for you. Yay! Check this out. So I'm gonna quickly show you the view. I really, really love this place. It's super affordable. I'm sure that will change later in the summer, but right now it's only like 60 bucks, and it's really quite beautiful. So let me show you what I'm looking at. That gently, okay? All right. So this far. So this is all sorry graph here, but I want to put something else very well. Yeah, there. Okay. See right there, that the way that it looks to me, how high that peak is, I think that's Yokovo, like down near Montana. I feel pretty confident in that. But nevertheless, I haven't been to town yet. I'm in Stargrad, but I am just more on the outer reaches. So later I'm going to go down, where that big collection house is. So, oh, I feel bad for you and your horrible weather in the UK. Yeah, see, that's what's bad about living. Well, especially the southern part of Croatia, the weather is just glorious. This year, I feel very, very, very not that it's sunny and warm, but it does have quite a strong wind today. I'm hoping that's gonna chill out before it gets dark. Otherwise, it's gonna feel like winter all of a sudden. Oh my goodness! Some of my favorite people are here. I see Rox. I see Queenie. Hi. Okay, so a few things I want to tell you. So one, we have been posting the replays of Five Question Friday on YouTube for a while now. I think there must be at least 40 or 50 episodes up on YouTube. But something that is brand new as of this episode that we're doing right now. So, you know how at the end of each question, I'm like, oh, we have some guides that are related to the question that I just answered. Send us a DM and we will shoot it over to you. And that makes sense for Instagram because Instagram, won't let us post links and comments or in the description. Like it just doesn't function that way. But we can do that on YouTube. So to all of the people who are watching on YouTube, when we say that we have a relevant guide, you're now going to find that in the description of the video. So you don't have to go anywhere or ask anybody or contact us. You will already have it there in the description. And Instagram people, if you just don't want to be bothered by DMing us, you can always go over to the YouTube replay there. So usually I'm pretty good about putting the YouTube replay up on Fridays, but sometimes it's Saturdays. But nevertheless, it's by Saturday, it's up, barring something catastrophic. So that's a cool development, and I wanted to let you all know about it. Oh, the next thing is Wednesday. I'm driving up to Jastrovarsko, which is a town maybe like 45 minutes hours south of Zagreb. That is where Cam, my dear colleague, lives. So her and I are doing a 3-day workshop, and we're working on a top secret project that has been like percolating in my brain for like 3 or 4 years, and it's now finally coming to fruition. And Cam is just doing such a beautiful job of taking the concept and like turning it into something. And I'm so overwhelmed by how creative and fantastic she is. Um, so for 3 days, we're going to be filming videos and kind of working on this project. And I really look forward to sharing with you that. And because you are my wonderful Five Question Friday people, whenever it comes time, I'm going to Hola from Hvar. It's nice to see you, Mexico. Thank you so much for being here. Okay, I think that's it. Yeah, there's one more thing, but I'm going to wait until the end, okay? So we're going to go ahead and dive into the questions now. Oh, duh. Since I'm going to be in Yaska next Friday, we are doing a special Five Question Friday with Cam. So Cam's going to be on here with me, and I've already prepared it. So I'm going to be asking her some questions. She's going to be answering a few audience questions, but then there's also some questions I would like to ask her. So it's going to be a bit of a combo. If you have a burning question for Cam, show up next Friday, ask it live, and I'm sure she would be more than happy to do that. So her and I haven't done a joint episode in a while. I think we did one maybe back in September, possibly. Yeah, September. That makes sense. That tracks. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to having some Cam on here. So come back for that. Okay, now we're going to get into the questions. And if you have any questions as we go along, feel free to drop them in the comments here, and I will try to get some answers for you. Okay, so let me go back because now I scrolled without my permission. How dare you? Woo. There we are. So this is an anonymous question that came in here on Instagram. Is it legal to live in a car in Croatia to save money? No. No, it is not. And there are a couple of reasons why it is not legal. One, it is illegal to sleep in a car or camp outside of a camping zone or camping park, even on your own land, if it is not designated as a camp. Which, really? Illegal to camp on your own land? Like, I get the car thing, but on your own land? What? That being said, I think it's highly unlikely that if you were camping on your own land, that anyone would like bother about it. But cars, yes. So the fines are approximately from 200 to 1,300 euros. Aside from this, everyone has to register their address with the police, which is not possible if you're living in your car. Like, they need to know where to find you, and you can't register an address if you are in a car and you're not at a physical address. So those are all the reasons why you can't do that. We don't have a guide for that. And we have guides for address registration, but that's a very specific question, and I wouldn't even begin to guess what we would provide you to substantiate that. All right, our next question also comes here on Instagram, also anonymous. Can minors hold dual citizenship? Yeah, absolutely. There's no reason why they wouldn't be able to do that. There's no restriction on dual citizenship related to a person's age. The only restriction on dual citizenship is for people who are naturalizing, which, if you are a longtime viewer of this show, this whole thing that we do here on Fridays, then you have heard me talk multiple times about how if you are naturalizing, which means you are not married to a Croatian, you are not a descendant of a Croatian, you just are here on your own, like me, then yes, you do have to give up your other citizenships because they do not allow dual citizenship in that case, which is father's son. So yes, minors can hold dual citizenship. There's no restriction on that. We have all the citizenship stuff. So if you want any of that, send us a DM. And if you're on YouTube, down in the caption, there is a guide on Croatian citizenship, which is kind of like our master guide. And so it goes over all the different bases. Let me just make sure I didn't miss anything. Michael, please, I would love to know the documents we'll need to submit for a student permit. Hi, Nigeria. So we do have a guide on how you can obtain a student residence permit in Croatia. If you send us a DM, we can shoot that over to you. There are a few documents that are required. all of the basic ones, background check, proof that you can support yourself in Croatia, health insurance, but you also have to provide proof of enrollment in a qualified institution here in Croatia. So yes, we have that on expatcroatia.com. Okay, next this comes from Barbara on the 5-question Friday form. Scroll back down to the bottom so I don't miss anything. What is the process for purchasing and registering a small sailboat or cabin cruiser? Are there any special permits or documents required? Of course there are. This is Croatia. There's always documents and permits required. So it's a long list. So I'm going to kind of go over the highlights with you a little bit. So you can register a boat in several different ways. You can do it through e-građani, which translates as e-citizens. It's Croatia's online government services portal, which is pretty kick-ass, honestly. And I've been hearing rumblings from our lawyers that compared to other countries in the European Union, like e-građani is like leading the pack on digitalization. I know. Who would have thought? But yes, it's true. You can also register a boat through email, in person at a harbor master's office, any of them, or by mail. Now, the documents that you're going to need are going to vary depending on whether or not it's a newly built boat or an existing boat. New boats do not require a technical inspection before registration. I'm loving all the hearts I'm seeing flying up and down. That's great. So there is an application for up to 24 meters in length and then a different one for above 24 meters. We have a link to both applications in our guide. So to operate a boat, there's a few things that you have to meet. The boat must be navigable according to the provisions of the Maritime Code Navigation and Inland Ports Act and the rule book on boats, small boats, and yachts. I love how it's the boat, small boats. Boats must have a valid registration certificate or certificate of navigability. Great word. The boat must be operated by a person with certificate of competency to operate a boat. So they need to have like a skipper's license. And there must be a minimum number of crew members required for safe navigation, which is determined in accordance with special regulations. So the list of all the documents you need and links to download the applications are on our guide on how to buy and register a boat. So if you would like that, send us a DM. If you're on YouTube, it's in the caption. All right, so this brings us to our lawyer tip of the week. Dun, 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 dun. All right, so all right. Be sure to share every relevant detail and document with your lawyer. Don't hide or shape something to make you look better. You will get more effective legal advice if the lawyer can evaluate the situation with a full picture. Leaving something out or mischaracterizing something may make you feel good in the short term, but it can cause problems down the line. The lawyer is not there to judge you, they are there to help you, but they can only do that with accurate and complete information. And I understand that because we're human, okay? Humans, and it is human nature to not share details that may make us look bad or that we're ashamed of or whatever. But when it comes to legal stuff, and this is kind of very much connected to the lawyer tip of the week from last week, is shame, emotions, insecurities. Like there's just no place for that when it comes with the law. The law doesn't see that. It's not a factor in anything. So it doesn't. Okay, this is a great analogy. It is not uncommon for when people go to the doctor, they don't share all the information with the doctor because they don't want to be judged, they don't want to be hassled, or maybe they feel ashamed. But if the doctor doesn't have all the information about your health and your behavior and what you're eating and what you're doing or your exposure, how can they possibly diagnose you properly? They can't. So it's exactly the same way with the law. Oh, I see one of my colleagues has joined. Hi, Temida. Okay. So this next question comes from Anna here on Instagram. With regards to registering your address with the police, what is this data collected for and who is it shared with? Is it shared internationally with our country of origin or just for Croatian police? So Croatian government does collect data from you in accordance with GDPR. Now, GDPR, in case you are unaware, is the data and privacy regulations for the European Union that they implemented a few years ago. Now, state governments, they do not have the same kind of bar as like private companies do when it comes to GDPR. That's important to understand because there's just some basic information that they have to get from you. How does Croatia get this information from you? They get it from you when you apply for residence. If you're a third country national or an EU citizen, they get your information that way. If you're a Croatian citizen, then, when you go and get your ID, that's when they collect that information from you. When you register an address, they get information from you. When you go and sign up for health insurance, they get information from you. I mean, there's a number of different touch points where you're providing them data. Just want to quickly see Charity. If you have questions you would like to have answered live, just drop them in the comments here. If you think of questions later after this is done today, then you can always send us a DM or put a comment on the replay. Thank you for that question. Okay, so let me get back to this. The data that you provide, why do they take it? So first of all, they have to know everybody who's in the country. They have to know where you are and where you can be found, period. That's how they track who's in the country, and that is a reasonable case. But also it's used in case there's an emergency, in case you have to be summoned to court, or if the government needs to contact you for something. Sometimes they have to contact you for things. That just is kind of the name of the game. The info is maintained by the Ministry of the Interior, which is carried out under the conditions prescribed by the law regulating the protection of personal data. Now, they are obliged to provide data on residents at the request of state bodies, legal entities, and citizens who have a primary interest. So I want to make sure that is abundantly clear because I feel like I didn't quite set that up. In terms of where that data goes, let me say it again. They provide that data on residents at the request of state bodies, so that would be like FINA, for example, is another state body. Legal entities, those would be commercial companies, and citizens who have a primary interest. So they're going to have to prove that they have some kind of interest to be able to get access to that. Now, we have not seen anything to support that MUP or Croatia notifies anyone's home country of their presence here. Now, frankly, that seems like an extra step that I don't see why Croatia could be bothered to do such a thing. So I'll give you an example of how Croatia can't be bothered to do things. So whenever you go and exchange your driver's license, your foreign driver's license for a Croatian driver's license, they confiscate your foreign driver's license. In my experience, they just mail this to your embassy. They don't send it all the way back to the United States, for example, or Texas in my case. They just send it to your embassy, and then your embassy decides what it is that they want to do with it. Okay? Now, however, if another state being another country, or government body requests this information, they will provide it to them. So if another country requests your data, then they may send it over. Of course, they're probably going to have to explain it. I think that if you're a citizen of that other country, they're more likely to give up that data rather than some random other country. They're going to have some kind of clause. But Croatia is going to acquiesce if someone else requests your data. Lastly, Croatia is part of the EES, which is an IT system for external Schengen borders, which does support the sharing of Schengen-related information with other members. That's kind of part of the Schengen agreement, all right? So questions that I have gotten repeatedly since Croatia entered Schengen was, how does Croatia know if I am not in Croatia, but I'm in other parts of Schengen? Well, there are ways. It's because of this EES system, because if you check into an accommodation in France, your presence is being reported to the police and is part of this EES system. If you get pulled over in Germany by a cop and they run your ID, that can be funneled into the EES. Now, I just want to reiterate this GDPR thing again. So this stands for General Data Protection Regulation. This was implemented in 2016 to protect EU citizens and residents, all right? And indirectly, because of that, it also gives some level of protection to people who are not residents or citizens of the European Union. We do have a guide on GDPR that we put out in 2016 that explains everything about this. So if you would like that, send it to DM, YouTube people down in the caption. All right, our last question of the day. This comes from Diana. Can you rent out an apartment if you are a dual citizen and Croatia is not your primary residence? Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, Diana has not clarified whether she means renting out an apartment long term to a tenant or short term as accommodation, but it doesn't matter. Either one she can do if she doesn't live here. For example, I had a client recently who his landlord here in Croatia lives in Japan. And I know that there are a lot of Europeans who own apartments here and they rent them out as accommodation as an additional income. So, yes, that's definitely possible. That being said, just because you live abroad does not mean you're not obligated to pay taxes. If you earn income in Croatia, either by short or long term accommodation, you still are obligated to pay taxes on those. There are two different ways that you are taxed depending on which type of letting you are doing. So, keep that in mind. We have two guides. One is if you wish to rent long term to a tenant, and one if you wish to rent short term to as accommodation. So they're very, very detailed guides, everything that you need to consider, including taxes. So if you'd like either of those, send us a DM, YouTube people down in the caption. Okay, so that's it for today. What do the next 24 hours look like? So I'm going to, as I mentioned, I'm going to roll down the hill to the sea. I'm going to meet these clients from America for dinner. It will be lovely. Tomorrow, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm certain it's going to involve a pastry and coffee of some kind near the sea. It's not too busy here from what I can tell so far, which is really lovely. And then I'm taking the 2 o'clock ferry back to Split because the European Championships are starting. So today's the technical first day, but tomorrow is Croatia's first game. So I pulled up the schedule here so I could tell you about the first 3 matches. So tomorrow Croatia is playing Spain at 6 o'clock Croatia time. I hope that everyone will be cheering Croatia on. Who's with me? I've got my jersey all ready to go. It's in the other room, so I'll be ready to go from the morning time. And then the second match of this group is on Monday at 9 p.m. Croatia time. And then no, sorry, that was wrong. The next one is Wednesday, June 19th at 3 p.m. They're playing Albania. Then the third one is Monday, June 24th at 9 p.m. They're playing Italy. So Spain, Albania, Italy. That's what we've got to look forward to the next week. So if you don't know what the schedule is and you did not write it down, and I just told you, of course, and just type Euro Croatia 2024 into Google and it will spit out the schedule to you. So I will probably be live storying tomorrow during the game. I have no idea where I'm going to go see the game. I heard a terrible rumor that the mayor of Split said that cafes and restaurants cannot put a TV outdoors and that they're not going to be doing like a big screen in the square to watch the Euros because, God forbid, Croatian culture impacts the experience of tourists. I hope this is not true. I'm looking into it. If it is true, I'm going to scream about it some more because Croatia is not a theme park for tourists, and Croatians are not just the staff that work here, they live here, and the Euros are a really big deal. So I believe that we can all enjoy them together. It's not going to impact anyone's experience negatively. All right? So that's what's going on here. And I'm going to give you one last shot of Hvar. What do you think? All right? And then, hi guys. I want to thank you for being here today and sharing other things. I will be here next Friday in Alaska or in the vicinity of Alaska with my dear colleague Cam, and I will join you for that. So yeah, I'm all Hrvatska. Ciao, vidimo se, bye.